Hooray. Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from Hawaiian beaches on the beautiful big island of Hawaii. So hooray, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. As always, it's been a super inspiring and enlightening week. And yeah, at the end of the last Wisdom Dialogues, I said, okay, this one I'm going to share with you guys about the Las Vegas adventure. And it just came back to me right now. So hooray. Do I want water? Sure, I would like some water. So you guys know that I have not been one to wear a mask over the past year. I just don't go places where they just insist that I wear a mask. I just don't go there. It's not really interesting to me. Going out and shopping used to be interesting to me because there was like all this interactions, hugs and kisses, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, that just doesn't do the thing. So I'm getting ready to go on this airplane before the trip, and I'm getting acupuncture, and I'm telling my acupuncturist, yeah, the only thing that's kind of a drawback is having to wear a mask on a plane. She goes, oh well, you know, there's a certain kind of mask that you can wear, and it looks just like one of those scary masks that everyone wears, but actually you can breathe through it. I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I got some of those, and and you know, at first I was thinking, wow, this thing is really thin. Like if you hold it up to the light like this, you just see right through it. It felt great. I mean, not like you weren't wearing anything. Something is over your face, but you can get oxygen freely and you're not breathing your own waste as much, probably as much. It was definitely reduced a lot. So I put that thing on, and I just went up to all the different agents and stuff, went through all the different, the whole trip. That was the first thing. I was like, wow, you can use this, and people go to work and do different things with them. And it's like, it's just one of the funny things about the whole thing. It's just like, it is one of the funny, you know, it's like, of course a mask can't protect you from anything in the first place. I mean, and that's because no illusion can protect you from getting sick. That's not how it's going to happen. You know, a seatbelt doesn't protect you either. I mean, you think it does. They got evidence that it helps you, but the thing is, since all effects come from the mind, there isn't anything in the world that can really protect you. And aside from that, there's all kinds of science too that shows that it can't do anything. So you know, I just had a really pleasant experience all through the airport, and I had a backup ready. Like I had another one of those masks that you can breathe through as a backup in case they didn't like my mask, and I could put two on, and then I would look super safe. So, but no one was bumming out. Like if one person bummed out about my mask, I'd be like, okay, it's too sheer. I'll just put another one over. It's still way better than one of those closed ones. But yeah, it was super chill. When I flew there, I sat right next to another person in a little coach seat. It's just sleeping. You just sleep all night. It was interesting to see, just to look around and see who like lets themselves breathe a little bit around the airplane. And you know, there's some people that will just like fall asleep, because I was on a nighttime one. They'll fall asleep, and I'll look over at them, and their mask will be all the way down here, so they're breathing. And you know, no stewardesses or anything say anything about that. That's what I noticed. I didn't hear one person ask one person, to pull their mask above their nose. In fact, if I were wearing a mask that I couldn't easily breathe out of, I would just be wearing that thing down. For me, I was like, okay, I'm just going to wear this thing and look like I'm really wearing it. That way they're not going to question it. Like if I have it down, they might go, hey, wait a second about that mask, because it really looks way better when it's just on your face. When you start messing with it, you can start seeing that it's sheer. So I'm like, okay, I just got to put this on, leave it on. So I enjoyed that very much. Really a lot of kindness and also a lot of conditioning, especially in the announcements that we're playing over the speaker, like about things being a threat. And it's so funny. It's so indicative of how we set up the world to make it seem like we're something that we're not. So that's just like an offering. And if we want to believe in that, we can make it seem like we're something that we're not. Like there's a threat out there and it's going to get you. Good one, Glenn. Glenn, shit show is wearing thin. The thin mask. Hooray. And also treating everything, like every interaction with everyone, it's all for healing. And always we're teaching and learning. We can't help it. We're always teaching and learning. So the way we think of ourselves, or who we take ourselves to be, is going to be the way in which we relate with everyone and everything. So, just in watching that, it's a teaching. It's always a teaching for our own mind, and we're always learning from everyone. There's no one and no thing that isn't our teacher. Like it's all our teacher. So giving it that perspective too, you're bound to have joyous relatings, which I did. I had a very joyous relatings with everyone. No incidences at all. So that's fun. So interesting. I start noticing the number 7 a lot. And it's funny because I'm going to Vegas, right? And I know they have those slot machines with all the 7s on them. So I kind of ask, is this about gambling? Because that's the first thing that occurs to me. I keep on seeing all these 7s. And I'm shown, no, it's not about gambling. It's time to be really alert because you have lessons coming. You have lessons coming here. It's time to be really alert. So I'm standing there at pillar number 7 to meet my sister and my daughter, Akea. She flew from Minnesota too to come out and party with all of us. And we immediately got in the car and we ended up at a coffee shop. It was really cute little coffee shop. Signs in the door saying you have to wear a mask. Didn't enforce anything. Didn't ask any questions. Nothing. Totally kind. It was my birthday too. Yeah, it was my birthday. I turned 40. I turned 49. There was another one. 7 times 7 equals 49. It occurred to me. So that was funny. And so then we order our stuff, this cute little coffee shop, and we get the number 7 for our table. So it just couldn't be more obvious. So, I'm like kind of like no sleep. Maybe I was like 2 or 3 hours sleep. No, maybe 4 hours. I'm pretty good sleeping on the plane. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyways, all this energy, we're just like hanging out so much. Me, Akea, and Pandita, we're like, no, we don't need any sleep, but let's get things going. I'm like, I want to get to my mom's. It's my birthday. I want to see my mom. So we ended up going to a costume shop because we're dressing like flappers. We're wearing flapper costumes to this wedding. And we go in there and, of course, none of us are wearing a mask again. And then we get asked about it. And I say, oh, we all have medical exemption. It's okay. I already read the law over there. So I was like, oh yeah, we all have medical exemption. It's all good. So we're shopping and stuff and we're having fun. And then all of a sudden, we're like done shopping. We have all of our stuff. And they say, you have to wear a mask if you want to check out. And I go, oh, wow. And that energy just really changed, like it was like all friendly. And then it was like, oh, and I was like, interesting. And I said, oh, okay, well, I don't really need that. I don't really need the thing. And then I just left. My daughter stayed in there. She bought the thing for me. I didn't expect her to do that, but she did. She bought the thing for me. And I went out to the car and I come to find out my sister had some energy with the clerk there. It's really interesting. And it's something to pay attention to because we're patterned in this way. Whenever we find ourselves having some energy with a person, that's like it's meant to be that way. And it's a habit to keep on projecting it, and until we're ready to face it as a pattern and not as that person being an asshole, because we take it in terms of when we play a pattern with someone, we play some energy with someone, we take it in terms of that person is just a fucking bitch. She's just a bitch. And the thing is, she is you. She is you. So if you have a habit where you find yourself in tense situations with people, let it be a means for you getting really alert. That's how I look at something like that. Like, let it be a means for you just getting really alert. Like, how can this be healed right now? Because it can. And as soon as you ask, see, that's the thing. You don't ask for that when there's a projection. You're not going to ask when there's a projection. And like my sister told me that she enjoys the conflict, and that's awesome, because that's not less or more or better or worse than anything else. It's just a phase that we go through. The mind has to get tired of this before it's like, okay, I surrender. How do I heal this? Because there's this sense of getting one up on a person. And that's why it's fun for me to play with the whole mask thing, because my goal is to see that we have the same interests, not to have our interests be separate from one another's. Like when people seem like they're confrontational with me, I go into a relaxed, kind of grounded kind of field, kind of space, and kind of like hold it, almost like grow big and hold it, almost like embrace it, right? And that's how we get healings, through the interaction, and just because we're being willing to see how we can hold it. It's like, how can I? If I stop projecting about this person, then what will happen? So all that keeps it alive is the projection. So, like for me, it's not important for me to buy anything at the store. Like, I'm not attached to the thing that I just shopped for. The things that I just shopped for doesn't really matter to me. The reason I'm there is for the interaction. That's the reason. That's the whole reason I'm even at the store, So if someone wishes for me to leave or doesn't want to serve me because I'm not wearing a mask, I don't mind leaving. Like, I'm not mad. I just don't mind leaving. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, that's whatever policy it is, it's fine with me. Whatever policy the place has, that's fine with me. I'll just go, So yeah, just watching those kinds of patterns that we play together, because every interaction, every single one of them, is super meaningful, and we're teaching and learning by the way we react to people. So it's like, if that woman is her energy is looking for some kind of fight, she just doesn't get it with us. She may have got it with my sister. That's her way. That's how she'd like to do things. But for me and Akea, I'm just like, oh, it's okay. I don't really need this thing. And I put it back, and Akea went and paid for it, and she was super sweet, of course. It's Akea. For those of you who know her. You know, it's like you can look at it as, oh, that person needs love, and they're asking for love in your name, you know. And it's like the universe is using this interaction so that you can have an opportunity to heal together. So it's like they're um, finding you in thought, basically, and you're finding them in thought. And that's the only way you come together. It's all really orchestrated, and it's for a purpose, it's for a really important purpose. The actual contents of it, that's all chaos. It doesn't really matter. Like all the contents on the surface of things, it's all chaos. It doesn't really matter. That's why I say, I don't need to go shopping. A friend came up to me the other day and said, he said, "Oh my God, we're being called terrorists now. Those of us who say anything opposed to a mask or vaccines or anything like that, we're being labeled terrorists now. Oh no!" And and I just laugh and I go, that doesn't mean anything. That really doesn't mean anything. Like, who's saying that? Who cares? Don't terrorize yourself. Uh, don't terrorize yourself with fearful thoughts. That's the terrorists. There's no need to terrorize yourself with fearful thoughts. Uh, yeah, that's something that's being projected in the mind too, that people are dangerous, people are with certain mindsets, or people who don't want to take vaccines, and on the other side, on the other hand, people that want other people to take vaccines, people are scared of that. So see how the fear is the common thing here. That's what's prevalent everywhere. So to help this heal, it's like just notice that fear, whenever there's fear, the accompanying thoughts, they can't be true. They're not true. And my friend was worried about the stores being closed down. I'm like, all that could do is draw us together. Between us, we have food. We're good. We have plenty of food. It might get boring because we don't have chips and shit you could buy from the grocery store, supplements. But you know what? You won't need that shit because that's all you're doing. You're just like eating, living, hanging out by the beach. And even if you don't think you have food because you don't live in Hawaii and you don't have this lush jungle full of food, you are supported by the same thing that supports all of perception. Like, it's the same source that supports all of perception. You're not supported by what you think you're supported by. You're not supported by worldly things. You're certainly not supported by your job. And you know what? If you have to rely on a job, that's only because you made that so. If you have to rely on it, that's only because you made that true for you. Okay, so maybe conceivably you have to rely on it because that you gave that thing power, you gave that job so much power. So now you think you have to rely on it. But you can also, at the same time that you're respecting the illusion you made, you're respecting the power that you gave to the illusion that you made, you can deny any truth to it when the thought of it arises. You can say to yourself, my mind is just making that illusion. It's not really true. Even though the thought occurs to you, you don't have to believe in it just because it occurs to you, just because it seems believable. So we take off from there, go to my brother's house at the costume shop, and back to that. Go to my brother's house. And you know, it's really wild in there. There's like people and kids and everything. And then here goes my sister again. This is my sister Pandita. She's awesome. I love her. I spent most of my time with her. Um, and staying at her house. And I'm with her, and she sees this couple. There's this couple that's a friend of my brother's. She sees this couple and she immediately starts talking shit to them. It is freaking awesome. I'm just standing there. I'm like, is this really what's happening right now? Is she talking shit to them? It was so hilarious. Apparently, here's what happened. It's a funny story. My sister has really big boobs. It's like, you know, opposite of me. Big cleavage. When you see her, they show up. Okay. So they're prominent. Uh, so my brother is on FaceTime with his friend. My sister comes up and he's like, hey, look at my sister's tits. You know, it's just like normal in my family. Hey, look at my sister's tits, right? So the friend, his girlfriend overhears it, comes up, gets her face in the FaceTime, and starts telling Pasquale, my brother, something. I forgot. I think he was telling my brother that it's disrespectful or something because he has a wife, because that guy has a wife. And so my sister over the FaceTime starts going, it starts going something like, the way it occurred to me is, shut up, bitch. I don't want your man. He ain't cute. So later on, they're at this house where I go to see my brother. When we, you know, when we came up there, they were there. So my sister repeats the same kind of shit she was talking on the FaceTime earlier to this woman. She's like, I can't believe you were, I can't believe you were getting all jealous about me talking to your man. I don't want your man. Look at him. He ain't cute. And he's standing right there now. You think I want your man? And it is so funny, you guys, because like the whole time this is going on, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not exactly sure. I'm thinking, is she talking shit? I'm not, I don't know. So, so the woman, all she could do is just smile and laugh about it. All she could do is just like fucking smile and laugh about it. She had such a good uh demeanor about it. She's like, oh yeah, yeah, whatever. Is what it is. uh oh, is she still watching? Oh, you remember Pandita? Yeah, she watched from her blow up bathtub before. I don't know if she's on here today. Let me see. No, she's not on here today. You guys are in alphabetical order, which makes it nice. So so yeah, so everything's all cool with that. And by the way, my sister-in-law Kanani goes, hey, you want to use my car, you can use my car. And we're like, oh cool, thanks, we'll use your car. So we got her car, and we took it to the we took it straight to the car wash. I guess I hadn't used it in a while. I don't know. I didn't see it. It went straight to the car wash. So now Akea and I have a car, right? So we're cruising. We're going on a trip to see my mom. We're going on a trip through the desert to see my mom. So we drive over there. I'm on our way over there. I talk to my mom. My mom's like, where are you? And I'm like, what do you mean? You tell me where I am, because you always know where I am more than I know where I am. You know, she's got me pinpoint on Google Maps. And she asked me where I am. I think that's hilarious. So and she goes, yeah, we're all waiting for you. We're over here. We made your favorite meal, which is cioppino, basically an Italian seafood dish, some salad, some garlic bread, some pasta, and we're over here waiting for you. And she said, Junior is here too, and that's my stepdad, like I told you guys about last couple weeks ago. That's my stepdad. I didn't realize he was going to be at my birthday party. I thought he was going to be at the wedding where I would just by chance see him. But you know, it occurred to me, oh, that's great too. He's at my birthday party. That is so sweet. So let's see, we show up at the house and there's all the people. And I'm hugging everyone, and I see my stepdad over there. I could tell he's really excited that I just walked in the door, because he comes up, but then he gets hesitant. So I'm like hugging everyone that's all in front of him. I'm loving everyone up. Um, Pretty big family. Not too many people were there, maybe like, I don't know, 10. Um, so anyways, I see him. He's free. I go up to him. I give him a big hug. I tell him I love him so much and thank you for being there. And he's like just really happy, really glad to see me. Thank me for coming there. Um, and then a little bit later, he came up to me and he said, Hopi, I've always loved you. And I know I did some stupid, and he started to talk like that. And I go, you know what? No one really did anything. I just kind of like explained to him, no one really did anything. It's just painful patterns playing out. There wasn't really anything that happened. And he's was like a little bit resistant to that at first. Like he wanted to get through that he knows that he did something and that he's really sorry. And I let him know I get that he feels that way and everything, and how the perception is specifically set up to make you feel guilty. And I also related to him that we've been playing these patterns over many lifetimes and switching roles back and forth. Like I'm becoming the molester, and it's like, okay, I know that everything is just working around in loops. Everything's just going in loops. So since I know that everything's going in loops, I don't want that loop to come back around. I would much rather heal it. So after some time, he started to get what I was talking about, at least on some level, and felt a lot of relief, and he said, thank you. No, really, thank you so much. It's like, it's not something where we're relating, when I'm there, I'm not relating with him in a way like he's the bad person that did something to me and I'm the innocent person that forgave him for doing something to me. No, it's more like no one did anything. And by the way, there's not just this lifetime to speak of. These patterns have been building up for millions of lifetimes. We've done everything. Everyone's done everything. So, the biggest blessing for me is to come to forgiveness, and that happened in a big way on the first night. It was really clear, that he knew that I knew it. He knew that I knew that this wasn't real. So he was free to be released from it, and we could have a genuine connection, um, which we did, and it was really lovely. You know, he was drinking a lot of alcohol. There was not a way possible for him to see me without that, just for fear. Um, just apprehension at the moment. You know and using alcohol, because I've seen alcohol, like my mom's husband drinks alcohol like no one's business. He can drink a lot of alcohol and he doesn't seem drunk. He doesn't even seem drunk. He doesn't use it in that way. It's like, your mind is using these illusions to make certain effects. Your mind is using them. They don't have any effects on their own. So in his case, his mind is using these effects to make him like really like a drunk kind of way. Um, like uh, overly emotional kind of, just like it probably wouldn't be there if it weren't for the illusion, making if I didn't have the alcohol, then I'd be closed off. And I have the alcohol, then I'm out like this, which is all fine. It doesn't matter at all. Uh, you know, it's interesting to notice how these different illusions are made in different ways, that and I asked him, I said, hey, would you like to learn more about this? He was like, you would help me learn more about this, because he was interested in that. I go, yeah, if you can join on Zoom, you know and then I asked his wife, hey, if there's a time when he's not drunk and he wants to join me on Zoom, let me know, because then I could just do a one-on-one or whatever. But I don't really, I don't need that to happen. And if I was ready for it to happen, it would. That's how it goes. It's like mind energy attracts like that. So we don't have to try to make anything play out. What we resist played out. Yeah. Um, yeah. So in the illusion and through the illusion is where we teach and learn who and what we really are. So all the time we're doing that. We're showing who and what we are. And that's going to be based on whatever it is we think we are. So we're always teaching our own mind too what we think we are. Like, how much forgiveness can I give? If it's all me, it's unlimited. It doesn't matter what it's for. It doesn't matter what kind of um, pain we think they cause to us, because no one causes us any pain. There isn't any pain, actually. Pain is an interpretation, and all of the relating is an interpretation that we make. Even a newborn baby is holding on to pain in the mind and ready to play it out and playing it out and making perceptions. Okay. So hooray. So yeah, that was definitely the biggest healing that I perceived at the at during the whole Las Vegas trip. The one with me and my stepdad. That was the biggest, most profound. I hadn't seen him in 27 years. I went through a lot of time where I would just imagine him being killed or beat up. Those years where I had like the major anger inside of me, and I just like project it, and use him a lot for projecting it. So to have that be healed and to come back to love in a situation like that, I just feel so light. And I feel like anyone can have it. And like all those people that are in prison and everything like that, they can all they can all use forgiveness. I mean, I've heard of a doctor, and I might get inspired to do this just looking at their files, the things that it says that they've done, just looking at the files and allowing forgiveness to come through you, allowing that forgiveness, that awareness that no one did anything, to come through you. That's exactly what they need. um, I've heard of a doctor doing that in an insane asylum, and all the patients were healed. They closed down the insane asylum. The guy just looked at all their case files and forgave them. Murderous thought, how they burn up. Yeah, I love that about murderous thoughts. I mean, I noticed when I was early on, I started having murderous thoughts when I was super young, and I kept on having murderous thoughts until the last one came, probably 2015 or 14, I don't know. But once it was allowed to be played out in my energy field completely, then it was done. It couldn't be believed anymore. I mean, it could occur to me, but it's just like, psh, that's not that's not for me. It's just laughable. But I was pursuing them. I noticed it was a really hot feeling. I would get really hot, when I used to pursue them. And then it would be like right around the heart too. It would just be like really hot there. And then once I went through them, I noticed it was a burning pain in the kind of like, but pain is also an interpretation. So let's say it was burning. It didn't necessarily need to be painful. I noticed at times it felt painful, at times it would feel more ecstatic. Um, and then the burning through it reveals that you're just trying to kill yourself. It's like you're killing in the air. There's no one there. There's no one. There's nothing to kill because there's no one there. You're only relating with yourself, and that has to be the experience. And the experience comes through willingness to feel these feelings without believing and pursuing thought. So yeah, I was happy to see he looked good, he looked healthy, he looked happy. He's got a wife. It's not my mom. Um, it's actually my mom's niece. It's a whole sort of Jerry Springer style family dynamics going on here. If you ever watch that show, Jerry Springer, some of you might be young for that. I don't know, but but yeah, that's my mom's niece, and they were actually him and my mom's niece were actually together when I was a child. And then my mom came around and she was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah. And then they got together. so, so, so now he's back with his niece. And that one thing I was just really happy about is that she loves him, like, through all the drinking alcohol and through all the, I was like so grateful that she's there just loving him up. And so is my mom because they all hang out together. It's so fun and interesting. Yeah, she's there for him too, just not in that way that it was before. We're all there for each other. And even if it seems like it's really like a dysfunctional or crazy family or anything like that, everything is perfectly placed. Everything is perfect for that teaching and learning, you know. So whenever anyone comes into my experience, I like to acknowledge that way I can be ready and not sleeping at the wheel. And thinking maybe someone's imposing on me or someone shouldn't be here or there's some kind of problem. Yeah, then we can just all have so much fun. Okay. uh, so we went to a big wedding. We got really dressed up. We had so much fun. I had makeup on. You guys wouldn't believe it. I had fake eyelashes and everything. Um, Big old hairdo. Oh, it was really cute. It was just like curled and oh, it was just adorable. Let's just put it that way. I loved it. I loved the outfit. It was so much fun. So we show up at the wedding. It's in a winery in Las Vegas with no air conditioning. So it's like 90 degrees in there. The older people, like the ones in their 70s and over, they're hanging out inside of the cooler. Like, actually, it's a big cooler. So there's plenty of room in there. They're actually hanging out inside the cooler at this place. There's my sister Pendita happens to be the bartender. So, the one the one that likes to start stuff with people. And that's another thing too. I heard from a friend saying they can't be around certain energies. They can't be around certain energies because there's too low vibing or something like that. And she asked me, well, what do you do? And I go, well, I check in because if I'm called to be with someone, and I know if I'm called to be with someone, if I find myself going to be with them or I'm with them. That's how I know. If I'm called to be with someone, I don't question it. I just don't question it. It's always a teaching for me. Someone that I'm with starting shit with other people, it's always a teaching for me. You know, I don't have a choice in whether I find myself in that situation. I really don't have a choice. I don't choose to or choose not to. I actually don't have a choice. I find myself in the situation, then that's where I be. And it's up to me to learn the lessons through that. And I could see that before in my earlier days, that would make me so uncomfortable. to have someone starting shit in front of me. Like, I know how to start shit too. I'm good at it. I could do it too, you know. Um, but I've been changed in that way. So I don't like it. I don't want it. I don't seek after it. Um, so when I was first changed, I couldn't be comfortable in a situation like that. It was like, no, it doesn't resonate for me. And then, as there's more experience, I noticed that it just there's just this possibility of embracing more and just being there for whatever it is, you know. Um, just in loving people up, however they be, it occurs to you. And my sister shared with me, this is what I like to do. I like it. So, uh, you know, I go, well, I completely support that. That's totally good if you want to do that. So she does it. And I just sink into the situation, and it's fun because we're opposites. Like, we're opposites in that regard. At one point at the wedding, my other sister happens to have a boyfriend who happens to have a wife who happens to be pregnant. See, I told you guys, Jerry Springer. So, um, so she's with my sister's with this, my sister Felicia is with this guy, and Panita just decides, she's not she's not having it just because her sister puts up with being treated like that. She doesn't accept it. And she tells him, don't talk to me. You don't talk to me. You know, my sister may accept that, but I don't. You don't. I don't like you. You don't talk to me. And then when he's interacting with me, I'm just friendly with him. Give him a hug. Love him up. It's fine for us to be different and still be, hanging out and still be having fun. It's a teaching all the way around. It's really wonderful. And for everyone that we run into anytime, it's all for teaching. Yeah. Yep. Going home is a trip. It sure is. Yep. Especially with my family. So I danced for hours once the temperature hit 90 or so, or maybe it was 80, 85. I don't know. I danced for hours, took my shoes off, mostly dancing by myself, but I just like moved to dance. So I was dancing. Um, and people were drinking, and people kept on drinking. And by the end, people were pretty drunk. So that was fun. So it's kind of a little bit of a drunk commotion going out of there and then going over to a casino. I'm not even sure how we all got over to the casino, but um, showing up at a casino in the middle of the night, eating a burger, going into a go well there's and they want you to wear masks there at the casino. They have a sign up and they have people handing out masks and everything, but there were like 10 of us with no mask, and it was funny because we just walk right by two people handing out masks, and we're just like, no thank you. And we're just cruising through and playing with a couple slot machines. I played with a couple slots, maybe like 5 or 6 different presses of the button. Then I was bored of it. It's it's not the same. It's definitely not the same. I don't know if it's because of COVID, but definitely being in a casino is not the same vibe that it was before. So it was time for me to get my eyelashes off anyways. Those things were heavy. So I was like, all right, I'm going home. Or I'm going to my sister's house. So me and my sister are taking off. My daughter Akea comes out and she's like, Mom, I don't want to go. I just had a Red Bull and I'm still going. It's like 1:30 in the morning. I'm like, all right, see you soon then. So my sister and I take off. By the way, this guy is with my daughter, and he's a really sweet dude. I was talking with him for a while. Really sweet, nice guy. He's got a gun on him. apparently when you're in Nevada, the take I got, I may be wrong about this, but you don't need a license if it's out in the open. So they could just like carry around a gun. And he goes, I'll guard her with my life. I'm like, oh, and you got a gun. Okay, so that fits. Not that I was asking for that, but so I wake up at 6:30 in the morning and I'm noticing all this energy is all this like I feel rocky, like half insane, like partially insane. I notice the mind is just rocky. Um, so I'm noticing that and what thoughts are coming to me. And it's about an interaction that I had with my sister the night before, where I was having a conversation with a young man, a 20-year-old man. I forgot what we were talking about at the time, but my sister came up and she said, "You want to fuck my sister, don't you?" and, and uh, and then that for some, we all have our things, we all have our triggers. That triggered, that was the most triggering thing of the whole trip for me. It's really great. Yeah, I bet you want to fuck. No, not I bet. She knows in her mind. She knows you want to fuck my sister. Okay. That kind of thing hadn't crossed my mind up until that point where my sister said something like that. But immediately when she said it, it didn't resonate for me. I'm like, no, that I don't think that kid wants to fuck me at all. I don't think it's like that at all. Um, uh, and then I just go, I go, hey, you know what? I know this is unusual, might come as a surprise to you, but it is possible for people of the opposite sex to have a conversation without wanting to fuck. And she goes, "No, I know. I know that he wants to fuck you." So he takes off. He's like out of there now. I'm like, "Okay." And then he leaves. She goes, "Oh no, he left. Did I make him leave?" And I said, "No, no, come here." And I gave her a hug, because immediately, like, I saw her starting to feel guilty or something. I go, "No, you're fine. You're fine. It's all good." And she goes, it's Tony's okay. Well, first she said, you know, guys aren't perfect. That's what it was. Guys aren't perfect. And I go, well, I'd say my perception of them isn't perfect, or our perception of them isn't perfect. She goes, no, you have Tony at home and that's good, but that's not enough. You need more. You need, she started to tell me. And I said, you know what? I think that's a self reflection because I don't feel like that at all. She's like, "No, I know it. I know it." And I said, "Okay, okay. That's fine. Thank you for letting me know." That's always the fallback, you guys. If I find myself saying anything, I can always fall back to, "Okay, thank you for letting me know." And then that stops that whole conversation just cold in its tracks. That like whole conversation's over. Um and and so then she goes, do you feel like you want to have sex with other people? And I said, no, I mean, honestly, I don't think I would have sex at all if I didn't have Tony. Like, I think it would go to celibacy beyond that, because I just enjoy the relating that I have, without any sexual tension with everyone. I appreciate that kind of relating. I notice couples, the same couple where the woman was getting mad at my brother for showing my sister's tits to her husband. I was talking to them at that casino, and we were talking about different things, and I said, oh yeah, do you want to get my information? We were talking about essential oils and beard oils and stuff like that. And he looked at his wife and he said, is it okay if I take her number? And she's like, oh yeah, totally. Like, I just have relating, like, because there's no weird energy. Like, I'm not even assessing your man to see if he's cute. I'm not even. I'm not even looking at him like that. Okay. And if it occurs to me that someone is handsome or good looking or something like that, I'm not pursuing anything about that because it doesn't make any sense to me. um and that doesn't mean that it's not good for whoever it's good for. I mean, it has a purpose at a certain time. It has a purpose. It just doesn't have a purpose for me. um I prefer to relate without any of that stuff. But who knows, because it's not up to me and I don't really know what I want. I can just think I know what I want, and that's what I just shared. I saw that one coming. Yeah. Yep, nothing even happening. Nothing even happening. So a little bit later, I came out again, and my sister said something. I forgot what it was. She goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm drunk." And she goes, "It's because I haven't eaten anything and I just had a bunch of alcohol." And I go, "Oh, well, there's tacos in there. You can go and get some tacos if you want." And she goes, "I can't eat tacos. How can I eat tacos? I want to be as skinny as you. How could I do that if I'm eating tacos?" And meanwhile, I'm looking at this person. She looks small, actually. She does not look big. And I think I don't know. I think you would have to like really analyze really closely to see if she's bigger than me. She may even be smaller than me. I'm not sure. So, so which just added a fun element to it. Didn't really matter. It was just entertaining. Doesn't really make any difference. Um, so I said, "Hey, why don't you just be how you are? Because you're awesome. You look awesome. You know, why don't you just be just how you are?" So then she uh, seemingly violently pulls up my skirt to reveal my thighs. And she goes, "Look at those thighs. Look at those thighs. How am I going to get thighs like that if I eat?" Okay, okay, never mind. So I'm just like, all right, never mind. That's all good. So what occurred to me is, what was triggering me is this sense like I just want her to be happy, you know, like it just seems like so sad, like, just um going after, my skirt, and um coming in on conversations, trying to make these things about me. And it seemed, that's the thing, it's like seemed like it was so sad. So that's what I really needed: forgiveness. I needed to give forgiveness to that illusion that I made of her being in that situation, her being that way, even because she's a manifestation of my mind. So I have to come to terms with the fact that I made her up like that. And that's what's triggering. um, so, just around those feelings and just noticing that the mind is rocky. So it's like partially insane. I say it's partially insane because I was aware that it's insane. So that's partially insane. I wasn't just in it without awareness, actually thinking that my sister actually did that to me and that she's actually in a really sad situation. Okay. Um, so I got the victory over that pretty fast. Before that, I told my daughter, because she ended up calling me right back at 6:30 in the morning. I told her about it, my mind's rocky, whole story and everything. She's like, "What? I can't believe it, Mom. I thought that you were beyond getting triggered by stupid stuff like that." Something like that. And I go, "Well, that's perfect for you to get that perception. Because before, when we were talking, I was like way ahead of you. So here we are now, side by side. There's just certain things that trigger me and certain things that trigger you. That's all. The only place where I show up as being advanced is that I don't let it bother me. I don't carry it around with me and let it bother me. That's all. And do big upset upset shows, like a big upset show, like, you know um lashing out, stuff like that, it's just allowing the trigger to play out and seeing that there's no difference between them, no matter what it's about. It doesn't matter. She's, when Akea is around my sister, she doesn't get triggered by her at all. She's just like, okay, whatever. That makes no sense. you know but for me, it's a different story. So she's like, why is that? And the thing is, we all get triggered by different things. The thing is, when there's awareness of the trigger, then you're not going to be acting out on the trigger, like making conflict. And what I noticed about my sister is that she's super sensitive to me. She doesn't want me to be upset with her, and she can't help the way she's acting out. It's like she doesn't want me to be upset with her so much that she acts out in ways that are likely to make me upset with her. She can't help it. It's being played out that way for a reason. So the main thing for me is to not be projecting as if she's doing something, as if she's ruining something, because that's what's been our pattern since we were kids. Like, she's ruining something for me. Like, in her mind, when that 20-year-old kid walked away, she had just ruined a connection, kind of like been a cock blocker for me. This kid. Um, and I call him a kid because my son is 19. I got, like, that's a kid to me. Just barely getting some experience in the world. It's got to be pretty interesting, pretty fun teaching for him to have someone come up to go, hey, you're doing this. So fun. So I made sure I let her know that, you didn't do anything. It doesn't matter if he comes back or not. I'm sure it was perfect. So, oh, I got a Q&A. I just want to say hi. The chat won't let me type. The chat won't let you type. Why not? That's weird. Okay, well, I love you, Lori. If you want to talk to me, talk here. Talk on the Q&A. All right. I know it took me 20 minutes to see it, but I'll be more on the lookout for it now. So once I hooked up with my daughter, I realized she was super distraught. She was just like really in a way where you talk about a trigger, way down, bummed out, having been up all night, drinking all night, even a line of cocaine, someone there had some cocaine. And then she's super bummed that she had cocaine. And I'm like, hey, why are you making a big deal out of it? There is no cocaine right now. There's a choice. And the funny thing is, people condemn themselves for doing a thing. It causes them to keep on doing the thing, or have a really hard time not doing it, like using a lot of willpower to not do it. Whereas if people are just like allowed to be natural, then they can just have the thing, and it's a thing, and it's not a big deal. It's just that when we make it into something, we carry it forward. Everything is for the same thing. So everything is meaningless in itself. It doesn't matter what anyone finds themselves doing. And, that's what I shared with her. It took her a little bit to come down off of that self-condemnation. She was feeling super distraught, feeling like she had done something terribly wrong, especially while she's with me. And, I think it's just because I'm not drawn to any kind of cocaine or meth or anything like that. It seems like automatically people feel guilty around me because of that. I don't know if that's the reason that they make up in their mind or what. But it's really interesting because some of the people had cocaine one of the nights, and or a couple of the nights there was cocaine, and I just barely catch wind of it. Like, no one comes up and asks me, hey, you want some cocaine? No one ever comes up and says, hey, Hope, you want some cocaine? No, doesn't even happen, or it hasn't anyways. But I find out about it in subtle ways. Like, a guy will be telling me, I like to party, and I like to party from time to time. And I go, oh yeah, well, I'm partying all the time. I'm partying right now too. And come to find out, he's a guy with some cocaine, and he was like trying to get into like offer some cocaine. Um, but to me, that's not partying. That's not where that's not really partying. Drinking isn't partying. None of that stuff is partying. To me, partying is just like having fun with a group of people. And like I'm pretty much always doing that unless I'm like alone or sleeping or something. Whenever I'm with people, I'm partying basically. I'm partying right now with all of you. Thank you. Uh, that guilt thing. Yep. Yep. That guilt thing again, Glenn. Always spinning around, always spinning some stories, right? So yeah, it was pretty funny. So I went into a bar with my daughter at like 7:30 in the morning because we're having this conversation. She wants to go to the bar. And I'm like, all right, I'll go to the bar. So I go to the bar, 7:30 in the morning. There's a guy next to us, and he's having a good time, and he starts talking with us, and we start talking about things. We start talking about like God. Mostly Akea's talking with him. God, coronavirus, masks, vaccines, all different kinds of stuff. So meanwhile, he's got shots and he's giving Akea shots. He offers me shots too. I'm like, no, I'm just here for the entertainment. so, so Akea ends up having two shots, and then his girlfriend comes up. She's like ridiculously pissed that he's buying shots and talking to two chicks, and he's like she's asking him if he wants to suck our titties and stuff. So I'm going, whoa, this is like I'm a long way from Puna. Like, in Puna, if someone's buying you drinks and their girlfriend comes up, it's fine. No problem. So she's going, and you're buying those drinks on my money. You don't even have any money. That's my money. Like this guy apparently didn't even have any money. He was using his girlfriend's credit card to buy drinks, and he was giving them to Akea. So Akea's like, I have money. I could pay for the drinks. She's like, nope, nope. I want you to pay for the drinks. So I walk around, and she's like down on her thing, and she had said her name, so I said her name, and I said, hey, if there's anything that I can help clear up. And she goes, nope, nope. And then her friend goes, yep, she just wants to do this, or something like that. That was the way I took it. She just wants to do this. I was like, okay. So I said, all right, let's go. Let's leave those guys have their thing. Did not want any payment. She just wanted to have that scenario where her boyfriend paid for some girls' drinks and he wanted to suck their titties. So, I was part of one of those scenarios. I think it's fun. Bless it all. It's all for healing. It's all divine. Um, and then after that, I was feeling like, okay, let's get out of the casino. Let's go to a mall. Let's go to a mall. What did I want in a mall? I don't know. I wanted to go to a mall for something. I know I wanted some sunscreen, maybe. Who knows? I end up over at the Bellagio, which was really nice place. Um, we just kept on walking around, checking out all the beautiful things, the heated toilet seat, all the different amenities that they had there. And then we cruised back and hung out with my sister, and my daughter was doing good. She was doing really good for a couple days. Then then we had an amazing then we had an amazing night, day and night. First, we're checking into a casino. Me and my daughter checking into a casino. We want to cruise over to my brother's house. So and I have some people calling me from California who drove from California to see me so they can have some questions answered while I was there. Thank you so much for coming. You might even be on right now watching. I know. Thank you. I love you. It was so wonderful to see you. and they were looking for me. I wasn't really sure who they were. And I said, okay, well, we'll touch base tomorrow. So we go to Whole Foods. And then next thing I know, someone's like, is that Hope Johnson? And there they are, this sweet couple. Actually knew them. I met them before, didn't realize who they were at the time on the phone. They ended up coming over to my brother's house. We're all singing karaoke, having an amazing time. That brother ends up going to bed early. So we go to another brother's house. By the time that's the first brother, the one who got married. These guys are like beyond, they have been partying all day. They've been drinking beer. They're like just just like gone, and still there too, and still there. It's like it's amazing. That just amazes me because they're still like, go, go. Even my brother just like went to sleep for a little bit and then gets back up, you know. They're like, Keep going." So we're over there and I'm just like hanging out, loving the vibe, going in the jacuzzi, going in the pool, talking with people. Next thing I know, it's 1:30 and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not even tired. Yet it's 1:30 and I love to have yoga in the morning. I've been having yoga every morning on my trip, whether I'm rolling my mat out in my mom's or my sister's or a hotel, just about every day. So I was like, okay, I feel like, like I feel it. It calls to me. I'm like, oh, I'm ready for yoga in the morning, 1:30 in the morning, time to go. How do I get home? So, my daughter Akea, we all decide, a bunch of people want to go. They want, because I'm staying at a casino, so they're like, we want to go to the casino. So a bunch of people want to go. Everyone decides that she's going to be the DDD, the designated drunk driver. She's the one who is like in the best possible way to drive. I was not having a bunch of alcohol, but I don't know how to drive a stick. So I wasn't ready to learn right there. And the other thing is, I know what an excellent driver she is and did not feel one bit of any kind of anxiety about it. That's how you can tell. Like, you just check in. How does that feel? Forget about all the concepts. And my friends were asking me, they're like, I can't believe you're okay with that. And then they're like, it's really awesome that you're okay with it. And I go, yeah, there's nothing to be afraid about being okay with it. It's because, all that is made up. You can't really kill a person on your own. Let's say all of your actions come out of the mind. You can't really do that. You can't really get drunk and have drunk be the reason why you killed someone. It's not like that. That's taking responsibility away from the mind. The only thing that can do any killing is the mind, and there isn't even any killing. There's making illusions of killing. So, I just take all of that power back from the mind. I don't let the mind have that kind of power. And, it's just shown to me what's obvious, and it was just obvious, and that's how it is. So anyways, we don't fit in the car either. We don't even fit. And before we're leaving the house, my brother's wife says, you're not going anywhere, to my brother. And I heard that. I was like, whoa, okay. She's in charge. All right. So I'm outside. I see my brother coming down the sidewalk. I'm like, what? You got out of that? He goes, yeah, yeah, I'm out of that. I'm going to the casino. So we're smushed in this little car. We're like smushed in the car, um, and going to the casino. We're like barely, people are like this in the car. People are afraid it's a flimsy little car too. I forgot what kind of car it is. A flimsy little thing. People that were near the doors were holding on for dear life. The door wouldn't open and they'd pop out of it, So we're driving to the casino and everyone's phone is blowing up with my brother's wife on the phone, and she's texting and blowing up phone and tell people how disrespectful they are and they need to get her husband back home right now, right? So people start getting real tense in the car. And I'm laughing. I'm just telling everyone it's okay. Don't you guys do this all the time? And so people start getting real worried, like they got to bring him home, like they really got to bring him home. So I'm like, okay. So we get out of the car at the casino, um, and they go, yeah, well, let's go in the casino a little bit. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to bed, you guys. So that's the last I hear about the whole situation because I go to bed and my phone doesn't ring, by the way, between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. It doesn't even ring if people call it. So, so I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to bed. I get up in the morning. It's like 7:30. I'm over there. I'm having my yoga routine. I'm like in warrior pose or something, just like in dreamland. And in comes my daughter. And it was so fun because she smelled like cigarettes and alcohol. She smelled like the casino. So she comes in and the whole yoga room now smells like a casino. The whole hotel room, which I was using for a yoga room. So, so I'm like, oh, that's good. I love challenges to my practice. I love it. So she comes in and smelling like that. I'm just like, oh, and just like just stay focused through it. So I stay focused. Then I hear her crying a little bit, and I'm like, okay, I'm still staying focused. It does no good for me to come out early anyways. Doesn't really do anything. Um, so then the next thing I know, her mat is rolling out and she's doing yoga too while she's crying and smelling like cigarettes and alcohol. That was really cute. So so we get done with the yoga routine and then we're and then I'm like loving her up. I grabbed her feet and loved her up and she just started crying and she thought I was going to be super disappointed in her. She was like, she heads it up with, oh, you're going to be so disappointed in me. And I'm like, well, I'm sure I'm not. I'm sure that's not going to be the case. You know, uh, Especially since you warned me that that feeling might come up. So, so come to find out, I had a call from my brother too, because we had my brother's wife from the first house we went to, from the first brother we visited. When we went partying at the other brother's house, we took his wife with us. So and he was leaving on a plane early in the morning, and they have a kid together. So he was calling me. My phone was off, looking for his wife, so he could leave. So Akea, by the time Akea brings his wife over to him, he's not real happy about it. And then Akea brings everyone else, my brother and his high school friends that were in the car with us, back to my brother's house. And she gets it from my brother's wife. She gets the whole thing, she's like in full blown pissed off mode. And, Akea's crying and she's apologizing and she's trying to protect me too. And the wife is going, well, your mom didn't even return my calls. And Akea, when she told me that, she thought I was going to be bummed out because like I didn't want to have a bad name to people or something. And I told her, I don't care about that. I do not care. What That doesn't even mean anything to me. And then she took the car back and I was like, I did not need the car. That's fine too. No problem. She thought she did something so terrible. And I was like, hey, you know what? What kind of thoughts are you following where you're getting to it where it's that guilty to where you're crying and apologizing to someone? You could just like let them have the car back. What thoughts do you follow to get you to that place? Because it's not the alcohol. The sense of drinking alcohol till the wee hours of the morning is a reflection. That's reflecting something. So it's like there's just all this upset, and it's not the same for everyone either. I mean, I know people who can drink alcohol through the wee hours of the morning and they're not upset. So it's like, but it's like we all have certain things, or we give certain power to it to make it to be a certain way for us. And so it's like acknowledging that and going through it. It's like, okay, it's like getting upset over nothing. So I had a massage set up for her that day, but she went to sleep. She needed to go to sleep, apparently. I gave her a little Reiki, gave her a little bit of some essential oils. She went to sleep. And I went to the spa. I went to the spa 3 times. I absolutely loved the spa. It was a salt cave. So you go into this room and it's salty, and they're putting salty air into the salty air into the air. They're blowing it through a blower, and you're on a zero gravity chair and you're breathing, and you just get so relaxed. You feel your body relax more and more as you're sitting in that room. Um, Again, you guys, the salt doesn't have power to do anything to anyone. I see people come in there and be all fidgety too. It's like we just either allow the relaxation or not. We're in relationship with different things. We either are allowing the relaxation or not. So we're using the atmosphere, whatever it is, for some nice deep relaxation. The massages, nothing like Puna. Dang, nothing like Puna. And no, you don't get good massages on the mainland that I've seen. And they charge like 3 times the amount. So, but still it's nice just to get touched and loved up like that. I ate a lot of sushi. Um, and then I called my brother, and the one where they were having that big blowout, like it was like they were saying that the relationship was over and everything like that. I knew it was just patterns playing though. It was like not serious. So I texted him and I said, hey, leaving in a couple days, you guys want to hang out? And they're like, oh yeah, yeah. So I go over there and there's no problem. There's absolutely no problem at all. I was sure that there wasn't a problem. And the way I deal with anything like that, where there's a thought that someone might have a problem with me, is I just don't give it any energy. So that's not like adding baggage to them. So every time I see them, I'm seeing them fresh. See, there's like, in the mind, it's like, it seems like all this stuff is played out. All these drama things have played out. So now that changed something. It didn't change anything. Love is still there. So I went over there and just hung out. At one point, I thanked my brother's wife for letting us use the car. I told her how awesome it was that we got to use the car, and then she goes, "Oh yeah, there might be some more stuff in the car. You want to go check it out?" And we go out there and look, and I go, "How'd you like the condition of the car? Did we return it in good condition?" She's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." You know, There's just like totally no problem at all. But we make problems in the mind. That seems like when the things that she was texting seems like it's unforgivable shit that you're doing to her by taking her husband and being disrespectful and all this kind of stuff. But it's all forgiven, because in the mind of the one who's thinking about it, right, in the mind of the one who's thinking about it, it's not made into a big deal. You see the thought cross the mind and you just let it go. There's only love there. You don't have anything like, I don't have any closure to do with someone. Hey, you know what? That stuff that happened over there, it was like, I don't have anything like that. I mean, it's not even up to me when the matter of the car, or if the matter of the car is even going to be brought up. It's just at the perfect moment, it just comes out. I don't even know. I don't have any agenda or any idea of what I'm gonna say, but I just don't make any kind of defensiveness real. Like I don't hold any judgment against people, so that set them up to where they have to be defensive, like they feel like they have to do to if they make them feel like they have to explain themselves. They don't feel like they have to explain themselves or their decisions or what they're doing or why they're doing things or anything like that. So we ended up having a really fun time. Also, these are the parents of Dylan. If you guys have been following me for some years, he came to stay with me for a couple months, maybe like 2.5 months. And he's gonna be 13 in October. That was 2018 that he was with us. And so we went out to dinner with his parents and him, and it was fun because they have this chore thing where they do chores and they get points. So if they get enough points, then they can have fun stuff. Well, my other nephew was there, Pandita's son, and he was having a pina colada, virgin pina colada. So the boys, Dylan and his brother Ryder, they're like, "Oh, we want pina coladas. Yeah, we're at this Italian restaurant." And so the mom goes, "Well, Ryder, you have been doing a lot of chores around the house, so you actually have enough points to buy a pina colada with your points. But unfortunately, Dylan over here, he doesn't have enough points because he doesn't want to do anything around the house. So then I go, well, and then there's the anti-hope factor where I buy the boys pina coladas and no one has to pay anything and everyone gets one. So she's like, well, okay, okay. And I know something was said about it's fun being the auntie because you could just spoil the kids and give them back to them. And I was like, and I was like, yeah. And the funny thing is, every mom can be like the auntie. They can. They think they're spoiling kids, though. That's not how it is. It's like it really feels good. It really does feel good to teach a kid that they can have whatever they want because that's true. And that's how you teach your mind that. Because that's what's really true. I mean, even in the illusion, you can have whatever you want, but for the limitations you put in place. So we're teaching children that they have to earn something and that they have limitations. Why? It's a reality based on belief. It's a not even a reality. It's not reality. It's a reality that we made up based on belief. So it can be undone. And that's the whole thing, is to undo these beliefs. It's like, why? You can be that. You can be like the auntie. Like when I went flying somewhere with my son Braun, I was hanging out. We were talking to this lady for a while, and she asked me if I was his aunt. After we're hanging out for a while, I go, no, I'm his mom. And she goes, oh, it seems like you're his aunt. Because I'm not bossing him around. It's like, oh, well, you're with the aunt, or while you're with the grandma, you can be completely free because they don't feel like they have to boss you around because they don't feel so responsible for you. So, that feeling of being responsible for my kid's life, that's something that I've looked at. That's something that I've addressed. And I wrote a book about it called Unschooling for Parents. And so when I'm with kids, when I'm with my kids or anyone's kids, I don't feel like I have to boss them around. So I don't come off as bossing them around. I mean, I imagine my body would be led to leap out and save them from an oncoming car if they seem to be in a road. I wouldn't have a choice in something like that. But I just know I don't have to boss them around. I also know it's not possible for anyone to die unless, and there's no death anyways, but even the perception of death, unless they authorize it, because nothing can happen without it having a healing purpose. Nothing can happen without it being beneficial. So the protection is really in allowing the illusion to unfold the way it does, because knowing that it's good for you, knowing that it's beneficial, it's when the fear is put into it that makes the perception turn out to seem dangerous. It's the fear that we put into it. So, and then there's the fear that who's going to do the chores around the house. That's another thing. You don't need that kind of noise. You don't need that question. You don't even need that. Just watch. So how it is for me is I just watch. If it seems like, oh my God, what's going to happen if my kids don't pitch in to help? I just watch. And watch how my mind moves to make whatever it is not be good enough. Like if the house is a certain amount of dirty, that's like bad. And just letting things play out, letting things reveal themselves. And what I notice is my sons are plenty helpful, just all on their own. They grow to be that way because that's actually natural. You don't have to punish people or discipline them into being helpful. It's actually natural to want to be helpful. It's called service. That comes from within. So it's natural for them to be like that. And we don't have to try to instill it into them. Okay. I got to hang out with my husband's sister, Tina. She came from um, Huntington Beach. We had at least three people driving from California. Um, we had a beautiful time together. She's just so much fun. She is always a really good teacher for me. I mean, all of you are, anyone who comes into my experience. And Tina, she always asks the kinds of questions that just like bring the energy of the spirit forth. Like she'll just ask a certain kind of question and I'll feel my energy shift. It's like all of a sudden something's coming, and she'll get what she wants. She'll get what she's looking for. I see that she gets what she's looking for. She'll ask for it, um, but just like straight to the point. Like, um, what do you do if this happens with your partner? Say, what do you do if your partner just doesn't have any energy and they don't want to do anything and they don't want to change? Um, just look at whatever it is in your mind that's making that into a problem. It doesn't mean you can't find yourself leaving them if that's what's right for you. That's what will occur. You can't even help it. So if you're with them, it's for healing. So in being with them and holding it like that, you're just asking for uh, the ability to see this clearly, so you can have what it's for, so you can use it for the means that it's meant to be used, and not for something else, not for your own personal whatever. Well, I want a husband who feels better about himself. So her husband got paralyzed a few years back. And he was like, before that, he was an avid surfer. He was very active. He was all into like eating really good food and stuff like that. So she's like, what do I do? I feel like I feel like I don't have a life because of this thing that's going on. And she does. She has all kinds of awesome stuff going on. It's just that in her mind, there's this guy who's not doing anything, and that's dragging her down. But the thing is, no matter who it is that appears in your life, they are a benefit to you. When you look at them as a benefit, that may even help them to improve, as far as getting happier, their state of mind, because the consciousness is raised, and it's all like that. It's all like vibration. So say someone's got a really low vibration, they're going, oh, poor me, I'm paralyzed, I'm never going to be the same as I was, this sucks, I don't even want to do anything, I don't even want to eat anything, I just want to lay around, I just want to die, right? And when you walk into a space where that kind of energy is prominent, it can make it feel like there's a shift downward for you. It's like a gearing down with the energy, and it's like, oh, I don't even want to be here. So the thing is, the power of love, the higher vibration, is more powerful than that. So it's a matter of not letting it take you like that. And you have a choice in that. You do have a choice in whether that energy takes you down, because you believe it has the power. You give it the power to take you down. If you don't give it any power, it's nothing. It's like this person's like, oh, I'm so down. Okay. Okay. And it's just okay that they're like that. You're not even trying to lift them up. Okay. And your whole focus, your whole point where there's forgiveness being allowed is to the idea that there's something wrong with this. You take out that idea that there's something wrong with it, and it's just all play. You're just having fun with it. And since you're identified with it, like this is your person, say this is your husband or this is your son or something like that, this is your person. Since you're identified with that person, it's going to feel like attachment. So you go, okay, good. Let me feel that, because this is the opportunity to see through attachment. It's going to show me where I'm attached. This is showing me where I need to let the light in. And paradoxically when you're allowing light to come in like that, when you're allowing forgiveness for the way you made this perception, when you're allowing that, it is uplifting. So the person can be uplifting if they want to be uplifted. And if you're ready for it, there's the other part. That's what I love. I love that. Because if I get a perception that a person wasn't uplifted by my energy, like I get that perception, I say, hooray, I must not have been ready for it. So it puts all the responsibility onto the mind, but no guilt, no fault, no blame, just all responsibility. I must not have been ready for it. When I'm ready, that's when they'll be uplifted in my perception. There's no one there who's paralyzed. Having the perception of a husband who's paralyzed is a blessing because it helps to see through the illusion of attachment. And that's the only reason. The only reason is to see through what we use to make ourselves upset. It's the only reason for anything. It's the only reason for COVID. It's the only reason for people pushing vaccines. It's only for us to see through our idea of what we think that life should look like, because that is what allows us to have the healing that we really made this world for. We made this world for healing. We didn't make it for getting things the way we want to get them. We didn't make it so that we can get someone to be healthy and happy in front of our faces. That's, I'm talking about my sister now, having the perception of her not being healthy and happy, mentally healthy or happy. I will have the perception that she's happy when I'm ready. When I'm ready for it. So I put that responsibility onto the mind. That's all. And then watch and see what happens. It's exciting. The thing is, if I make it about her, I make division. So if I make it about the other person, I make division. There is no other person there. There's only my mind playing out. My mind is playing out these illusions. My mind is playing out an illusion of an unhappy sister, or my mind is playing out an illusion of an unhappy husband, And when I'm ready, I will see it differently. So that gives it, that gives the mind nowhere to run. Nope. You have to have full responsibility. You can't run to they're this or they're that, because you're making them the way they are. And we will see the shift. There's no doubt about it. We will see it shift. You can't lose. Yes, that's right, Glenn. You cannot lose. It's impossible. And there's no hurry. That's the other thing. There's no hurry. It's like that. Not like they have to hurry up and get better for me so that I could see that my mind is healed. It's like, take your time. Time is an illusion. I know the truth is that no one is the way I perceive them. So, take your time. You have to have whatever lessons we all need. I don't know how far advanced I am and how much longer I'm going to be perceiving. It could be this lifetime. It could be more than this lifetime. I don't know, and I don't mind either, because I know it doesn't matter. And I know that it's so short. It only seems long, but it's so short. And as long as there's willingness in me to use it for what it's meant to be used for, it's fabulous. It's totally fun. And it's fun because of where it's leading. It feels more and more like that. So I missed a flight, and that was awesome. On my way back, I didn't realize that I saw in movies like people show up at the gate 10 minutes before what's on their ticket, right? I had gone through all the check-in. I arrived an hour early, an hour before it said on my ticket. I went through all the things. I waited a little bit because I got one of those pat downs instead of go through the X-ray thing. I like that. It's really nice. They touch you real lightly all over your body. It's like really sweet. So, anyways, I guess that took longer than I noticed, and I was there 10 minutes before, missed my flight. I was stoked. I was like, "That's great." My sister, who had just dropped me off, was crying when she dropped me off, so she was like really happy I was just coming right back. Went back to the spa again. That was the third time. Ate some sushi. Um, Sunk in even more with my sister and her man, and then went back again that night. So I took another nighttime one, and this time I upgraded my seat. I was like, I'm going not first class, but up there, and got to sit by myself and spread out, and still no trouble with the mask at all. One weird thing is I got in this line. There was this long line, and I thought all the passengers had to get in it. It was some COVID line, so I got in the line, I go all the way through the line, and I get up to the front and I realize, oh, they're asking for vaccine, proof of vaccine or proof of a COVID test. So I go, oh, well, I'll just tell them I don't have either one. So I told them I don't have either one. They're like, oh, well, you don't need to be, basically don't need to be in this line. Like the whole airplane was in that line. Uh, you know, everyone's got a wristband now except me. That was pretty funny. But I got a nice seat, two seats, and the next row over. The lady was great. She had four seats. She was able to lay down across all four seats, and she had a mask and a shield on, and it was so fun. When she'd go to eat her food, she'd just pull her mask off to the side like that, put a bite in, put it back on. I was like, wow, it's like going, people really do go through some trouble for this thing. My goodness, that's really committed. It's really committed. Um, so still the same. It's just like really chill. It's really chill flying back with the unmask. I get back on Oahu, and then I find out, okay, the armband people, the people with the little wristband, they go in a different line than the people without a wristband, and there turns out to be two of us without a wristband, me and one other person. So they're really like, they're scrutinizing you, and they're really scared. They're like, they got the hand sanitizer constantly. They're going with the hand sanitizer, and they're like looking at you and stuff. And still, that mask that I had, that thing was awesome. No one asked me anything about that. They were just like, I definitely got a rude vibe, super rude vibe from the supervisor. I just had to make a comment. I couldn't help it. When they asked me, you didn't even get a test, and I go, no. Why would I get one of those? They're not accurate. I mean, they say that right on the news. It's not accurate. That triggered someone. Next thing I'm being told that I'm not allowed to pass because I don't have a boarding pass, because I missed the first flight, so I didn't have a boarding pass for the second one. I'm not allowed to pass, and I'm like, oh, well, are there some Hawaiian airline agents back that way? It's like 4 a.m. There's some Hawaiian airline agents back that way. And she goes, no. And I go, oh, okay. So what do I do? And she's like, well, call Hawaiian Airlines right here. And the whole time she's talking really rude. I don't know how to do it. Impersonation. Um, uh, so I'm like, oh, okay. And, I just overlook all the rudeness, just overlook it. And just like, oh, okay. And I call Hawaiian Airlines. The guy's so sweet on Hawaiian Airlines. He's trying to help me. He's trying to give me a boarding pass so I can satisfy this requirement. He's like, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. We're trying different things. And so I ask again. I go, is there any other way I could pass besides a boarding pass? Because he's having a hard time getting that so that it's something you can see on my phone. And they're like, oh, a flight number. Oh, a flight number. Just a flight number? So then I passed. But I noticed there was just some, there was a good reason why I needed to be restrained in that area. There was a good reason for it, and I knew it. I was like, okay, if I'm going to be restrained to this area, there's got to be a really good reason for it. So I'm just like looking for any opportunity, any kind of upset feeling. Notice that the person is being rude. It's just automatically like an extension of love. I wasn't guided to say anything or made to say anything about it. Just being there and being with the experience and watching any kind of reaction. And it was fun because when I told my husband about it a little bit later, when I called him, I was like, yeah, they were pretty rude over at that thing. I could feel him get like kind of triggered by that. How are they being rude and stuff? I was like, oh, it was perfect. It's like, I know if someone's being rude, that's my own mind. So it's all fine with me. It's not like I'm over there getting all triggered about it. I'm just kind of laughing at it, because like that thing came out of my mouth about uh the test. Not why would I do that? I might get a positive test and not even have anything. Sounds like self-sabotage. Next thing you know, a bunch of people are all up in my business. We don't need that. Oh, also while I was on a trip, speaking of government type stuff, this was really fun. So I had enrolled my son Braun for school. I think you guys knew if you've been following. Enrolling my son Braun for school, right? He wanted to go to school, 8th grade. So I did all the things. I did all the paperwork. He even went to see an MD for the first time in his life so he can get a physical because that's what they require for school. He had 5 uniform shirts. He had 5 masks. So he could change his mask because he'd have to wear a mask every day. And he's not into the unmasked like I am. He's only into the suffocating kind of mask. So day before it starts, he decides I don't want to go. So I go, oh, okay, cool. You don't have to go. Thanks for letting me know. Send an email to the school, let him know, hey, he changed his mind. He thinks he's going to try a private school. That was what he was saying at the time. So I guess they didn't get my email. So they're trying to call me while I'm in Vegas. I don't recognize the number. I'm not even checking my messages. I have no idea what's going on. So then they're calling my emergency contact and they're telling them that they're going to report me to the Department of Education unless I call them back today. And so, I got kind of a frantic call from home, kind of like, you got to call the school. Holy shit. And I was like, oh, okay. So I called the school and I go, did you get my email? First of all, did you get the email I sent? She said, no, I didn't see it. I go, oh yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's in this thread. I sent it to you the first day of school, which was like a week before. And she goes, oh shoot. She goes, oh, okay. And then she goes, well, I have to have a letter of confirmation that your son is in a school. Like I have to have a school confirming it. Otherwise, you have to do homeschool. And when you do homeschool with the Department of Education, these weren't her words, they're mine. You're co-parenting with the Department of Education. Like that's you agreeing to be a co-parent with them when you homeschool through them. So I go, oh, okay, I'll get that over. Can I have until next week? So I'm on vacation. She's like, yeah. So, anyways, I wasn't sure how that was going to go down, but I was sure it was going to be fine. My son is not at the moment interested in going to school at all. He just wants to go back to unschool, which I'm an unschooling mom, and I don't think the Department of Education really understands how that works. Letting the child's learning be self-directed. They do wonder why my kids are so fucking smart, though. They do wonder that. But they don't really want to know the answer to that. So anyways, I ended up finding a school, and if anyone wants to know what it is, I will type it in here right now, and you can email me. West River Academy. West. Typing River Academy. So I'm gonna send this to everyone, and they do kindergarten through 8th grade, totally unschool. You don't have to do any activities at all. You report the grades, you report the classes, you report the grades. They give you a transcript. They trust you. They trust your child. They know creativity comes with it from within, and they have a whole school based on that. You can take notes and turn in notes if you want, but you don't have to. These kids learn on their own. They learn through curiosity, and they don't really need to go to school. That's another thing that we've been taught, and that's a way that it indoctrinates our kids to feel limited. School is all about teaching a kid that they are what they are not, teaching of limitations. And it's not just teaching math, reading and stuff like that. It's teaching all kinds of limitations, which isn't good or bad. Some kids aren't drawn to it. And me as an unschooling mom, it's just like I just facilitate whatever it is they're being drawn to. If they want to go to school, they can. um, I found that some of them like to go at times and at times not. My son Blaze was like that. My son Braun, so far he's only gone 2 weeks when he was 6, and he hasn't been back since then. This was a close call. He got really close. He even took the TB test. You don't get a prick anymore. It's a spit thing. So we were pretty stoked about that. Um, yeah. So definitely seeing some kids going through some uh, school kind conditioning, and they like it. A lot of them like it. A lot of them need it. That's why they're doing it. And even if it doesn't seem like they need it, they need it. And then there's certain kids that don't need it. They end up having a perception of having parents that don't make them go to school. It's not like a lucky thing. It's not like they're lucky. It's actually set up like that. And maybe it could be an example to other people that they could have freedom. And I'm sure it is an example of that. Even for a teacher, even for an aide at the school that finds out that my son didn't want to go to school and therefore he didn't have to. No one's saying, nope, you have to go. You have to go and at least try it out. I already spent all this money. I already bought all these masks, and I already bought all these shirts, and I already paid a doctor to give you a physical that you really didn't fucking need. But again, it's needed if it's there. It's just not needed for the reason that people think. It's the interaction. That was such a good interaction, such a fun interaction, such a learning experience for me too. Because my son, when he was at the doctor goes, so what do you eat? And he's like, oh, a variety of things. What's your favorite food? I don't know. So she looks at me and she's like, what is his favorite food? I'm like, I don't know. He eats a variety of things. Then she's like, oh, and she looks like she's pretty impressed. And then she goes, who cooks your meals? And he goes, I do. She goes, oh, you're a chef, huh? He goes, no, I just get stuff from the freezer and stick it in the oven. I just eat frozen food like pizza and stuff. That's my whole diet. Pizza, macaroni and cheese, all kinds of different variety. There's Chinese stuff. There's fish sticks, bagel bites. So then you're like, oh, okay. So now she's not so impressed, like we just went from up here to way down here. So then, so then, uh, she goes, okay, well, we talk about the kids about like stuff and like drugs and sex and stuff like that when they're this age, like without their parents being around, right? So I'm like, okay. So I leave, I go to leave, and I'm barely out the door. I mean, I'm barely out the door. And she's asked him if he sees anyone doing drugs at his house, and he's like, yes. And he's like telling him, yeah, there's tobacco, and there's marijuana, and there's probably told him there's mushrooms. So I'm like pretty much having a mini heart attack because I'm thinking, man, so do they have to report that? Right. So like my body energy is just going, oh my God, fuck. And then I'm like, okay, it doesn't really mean anything. And I just like sat on the couch and I just got so much relief. I was like, oh my gosh, it, that's just such a hook to try to make a big deal out of something, just such a big hook. And I'm like, that is just like nothing. And it's totally like, let it all just like drop. And you know what? It was nothing. That was the funny thing. And at one point during the conversation, um, you know, when the doctor found out my son was going to eighth grade, she told him, she related her experience of eighth grade, how it's going to be so hard and there's going to be a lot of messed up people and bullies and stuff like that. And then she looked at me and said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Oh, well, I got a different impression because I went over there to, Braun and I walked around and when we were walking through the pathways, there were all these little signs that the kids handmade, and they were like really loving, like they were really conscious and loving little signs that were on the walkway, like you are beautiful and your smile is meaningful, or some like nice, sweet things that I would never see when I was in eighth grade. So I just related, well, I saw that and then I thought, man, maybe the consciousness has evolved a lot. Maybe it's a lot different. And then I heard of some different shows that are coming out recently, where they're showing junior high and high school in a totally different light, where it's not even cool to be an asshole anymore. Like it's cool to be like nerdy and sweet now. So I just related that with her. And then afterwards, she asked me if she could talk to me about something, and I immediately thought it was going to be about drugs. So I'm like, okay. And and she goes, I know you perceive things at a higher perspective, and wondering about the thing I said about junior high being this way. She was feeling like bad about having said that. And I go, you know what? No, it's nothing like that at all. Like, it's always good to have different perspectives, whatever the perspective is, you just like let it be what it is. I just saw something different. That's all, you know. It's not like it's bad. Like if you didn't ask me, I was just not even going to say anything about it. Let that perspective just be shared on its own. It's fine. And that's a thing that we commonly do is judge ourselves for not having the correct perspective. It's really common. Like even for me, like if I make some kind of comment and then someone makes another comment and it seems like they have a more evolved perspective than I do, I'll sense a little trigger. It's small because I know that stuff is meaningless. It's just like really that's an easy one for me. But I know it's like, oh, there's not anyone else there. It's all a teaching. There's no comparison is meaningful. Whatever anyone says, and what I shared with the doctor too, it's the same thing hearing you say it as if it came out of my own mouth. There's not any problem with it at all. No. And I think she got that. I think she got some relief. At least that's what it looked like to me, that, that no one's done anything wrong. So it's just interesting to note there's this thought about, oh my gosh, what if I did something wrong in their eyes? And, just like letting that energy fall. And really, we're just mirroring each other. We're just totally mirroring each other. Like we've done so, I've done something wrong, and then when it comes forward, it's like giving you that opportunity right there to acknowledge, no, you can't get it wrong. You couldn't have gotten it wrong because whatever you said was meant to be said, and whatever you said is teaching my mind. And anyone else who happens to hear it, and whatever it is, it's for that. So you can't get it wrong. And that's what causes people to suffer. If you're not questioning it or wondering if it was right or wrong, then it just passes and it does its teaching and there's no problem with it. But we wonder, and then we keep on pursuing it, you know. So I had the instance where I was like, oh my goodness. And then I just let the light in. I sat down, I got some relief and I let all the light in and realize how meaningless it is. Because it's like, the mind starts going off on this catastrophe line of thinking. Like, oh my God, social services, and then they take my kid, and then Braun's sad, and then I'm sad, and then our life is fucked up. It just goes on a tangent like that. So just like stopping the tangent from happening and feeling there, because nothing can occur that doesn't need to. So it's not like I'm saying, no, that manifestation can't come to me. It can if it needs to. I'm just not going to be afraid of it. It's not like I think I can control the outcomes of everything. Anything can come. It's only going to come if I'm needing it, though. And anything can be taken away too. It's only going to be taken away if I'm needing it to be taken away. That's why I don't worry about my kids being taken away or being hurt or anything like that. I just don't give that kind of energy any power. And I did find a private school. I put the name in there, West River Academy. If anyone else needs any of that kind of help, it's really reasonable per year. And you don't need to report anything unless you want to. And you don't even need to get transcripts unless you want them or you need them. You get a letter of confirmation. It gets you out of the DOE system. So you are no longer co-parenting with them. But it's like when my son goes, I want to go. It's not like I necessarily feel like I want to co-parent with public school or private school or any school. But I'm willing to do that for them to have the experience. And in this case, the experience was just all the working up to going to school. And that was the whole experience. It didn't even need to manifest as going to school. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Who knows? So everyone, the moral of the story is that you are in control of how you take things, not the things themselves, how you take things. You are in control. You decide whether it's going to be embraced or resisted. And from that, all the things are coming to you. And and the thing is, there's still between those two choices, there's nothing else. There's just those two choices, whether it's going to be embraced or it's going to be resisted. If you choose to resist whatever it is, even if it's something that you think you said or another person said or whatever, missed your plane, uh, whatever, have to wear a mask kind of situation. Um, if you choose to resist it, then you just make turmoil for yourself. You make upset for yourself. If you choose to embrace it, then it teaches you. You can use that teaching to undo the thought of separation. That's what you really want. So I'm encouraging that. And all my videos are encouraging that. I'm encouraging you to allow yourself to be happy beyond your wildest dreams, because happiness is a sign that you are allowing forgiveness for all of the things that occur in your life, um, that never happened, but they occur to you, right? Anything from the past occurs to you in the present moment only. Okay. Um, and it seems like it's happening now, but it's not. It's only an echo. Let that be undone, and then you won't have any past holding any power over you, because you reclaim your power from the past perceptions that you made. Try that out this week. I wrote something for you guys on Telegram, and I also wrote it on my Facebook group, Wisdom Dialogues Online. If you'd like me to send it to you, I'll send it to you. It just gives you an easy way in a short couple paragraphs maybe of how you can apply this healing to the sense that things have any kind of effect on our bodies. Okay. Sickness, death, any of that kind of stuff. The idea that things are good for you, the idea that things are bad for you. I wrote something simple. If you don't have Telegram or you don't see it on Facebook, you can email me, hopejohnson@me.com, and I'll just send it to you. You can, if you want, use it for as a practice for the week. I know I will be, just because it's fun. Okay. So, hooray, everyone. I love you so much and have a beautiful, beautiful week. I will be back again next Monday for Wisdom Dialogues Online. I will also be at Hawaiian Sanctuary on Friday from 3 to 5. That'll be live and it'll also be recorded. You can get all of my recordings at hopejohnson.org/wisdom dialogues. Okay. All my recordings are there. You can check it out. You can also get my book on hopejohnson.org. I've got one book and I'm working on a second book. I'm having super fun with it. And I can't wait to share it with all of you. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you. Mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho. Thank you, everyone. I love you.